Hello, everyone, and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. And today on the show, chaos reigns over the skies of Newark, New Jersey, and it's a night not soon forgotten as the Met Gala lights up the night in New York City. We've got the latest on these and other stories, but we start with the latest headlines. China condemns CIA recruitment videos targeting its officials, calling them a naked political provocation. This comes after the U.S. intelligence agency releases a series of clips it says are meant to recruit Chinese officials to help Washington. Hamas says it is no longer interested in a truce talks with Israel as the group accuses Tel Aviv of waging a hunger war on Gaza. The decision comes a day after Israel announces plans to expand operations in Gaza. French President Emmanuel Macron will host Syria's interim leader Abu Mohammed al-Jolani in Paris on Wednesday, marking his first visit to Europe since Bashar al-Assad's ouster last year. Romania's liberal interior minister becomes interim prime minister a day after Prime Minister Marcel Ciolacu resigns following a far-right candidate topping the first round of the presidential election. And gold rises to a two-week high as concerns over President Trump's tariff plans boost demand. Spot gold is up 0.9% to more than $3,300 already. We begin in Washington, where the Trump administration has launched a new self-deportation program offering undocumented immigrants $1,000 in cash and a free flight home if they voluntarily leave the United States. The stipend will be given after an immigrant dubbed an illegal alien confirms its departure through a government app called CBP Home. Officials say the policy is designed to reduce costs associated with arrest and forced deportations, which often require lengthy detention and chartered flights. President Trump announced the plan on May 5th and branded it, quote unquote, a different way to enforce his immigration agenda. The president even added that the migrants who leave peacefully may be considered for return to the U.S. in the future.
But what we thought we'd do is a self-deport, where we're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from, and they have a period of time. And if they make it, we're going to work with them so that maybe someday, with a little work, they can come back in if they're good people, if they're the kind of people that we want in our company, industrious people that could love our country. And if they're not, they won't.
Now, the Trump administration argues the move will be more cost-effective than conventional deportations, which can be time-consuming and expensive. And as of this week, one Honduran migrant has accepted the offer and returned home from Chicago. Since January, the U.S. has deported around 140,000 migrants, well short of the millions President Trump promised to remove during his presidential election campaign. Meanwhile, in a separate development, despite the White House efforts to limit immigration, a federal judge has ordered the administration to admit 12,000 refugees into the country. Last week at a hearing, the Trump administration argued that it should only have to admit 160 refugees who are scheduled to travel within 2 weeks of an executive order in January. But the U.S. District Judge Jamal Whitehead overruled the claims. And the Trump administration is now making it clear it continues to pursue aggressive policies aimed at reducing immigration, but legal challenges and implementation hurdles indicate that the path forward remains contentious and uncertain. And staying in Washington, a 2018 interview has resurfaced, sparking a heated clash between Vice President J.D. Vance and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. In the clip, Omar suggests profiling white men due to their role in domestic violence, prompting the vice president to accuse her of using genocidal language. While Omar has defended her remarks, citing data on white supremacist extremism, Vice President Vance and other MAGA supporters have used the moment to further criticize her. Here's more on the fallout.
A storm from the past has reignited a firestorm in the present. Vice President J.D. Vance launched a blistering attack on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar this week, calling her a disgrace and accusing her of using genocidal language. The Spark, a 24-second clip from a 2018 interview that has once again found its way into the political spotlight. In the interview, Omar, who was then not a member of Congress, sat down with journalist Mehdi Hassan, and their discussion focused on national security fears and the double standards in America's fight against extremism.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men. They are actually causing most of the deaths within this country. If fear was the driving force behind policy, we should be profiling and monitoring white men.
The clip was posted by the right-wing Libs of TikTok account and quickly went viral in MAGA circles. Trump ally Laura Loomer, a self-described Islamophobe, dubbed Omar a jihadist and reignited long-standing unproven claims of her ties to terrorist groups. But Omar didn't stay silent. In a public response, she explained that her comments were based on a 2018 Anti-Defamation League report, which found white supremacists were responsible for over 78% of extremist-related murders in the US that year. In fact, turning the tables on Vance, Omar suggested he look up what genocidal actually means, especially while supporting a genocide in Gaza. Now, this is not the first time the clip has surfaced. PolitiFact did a fact check back in 2019, noting that the full 10-minute interview provides critical context and the soundbite critics say has often been weaponized without nuance. However, Omar has also been in the headlines for other reasons. Recently, she clashed with a reporter over a controversial deportation case, snapping, "I think you should f*** off." She later stood by the remark online, defending her passion and frustration. But as the clash with Vance escalates, deeper tensions within American politics bubble to the surface.
American democracy has never been for sale, and it won't be today.
About race, national security, and who gets to be seen as a threat. And as the rhetoric sharpens, with both Vance and Omar refusing to back down, the question is, in the coming times, what blast from the past will again end up creating a political brawl?
And now from chaos in Washington to chaos in the skies, a major disruption at Newark Liberty International Airport has exposed serious cracks in America's air traffic control system. On April 28th, air traffic controllers at the Philadelphia Control, who managed Newark's arrivals and departures, lost all radar and communications with aircraft under their purview. In fact, while the Department of Transportation initially claimed the blackout lasted just 30 seconds, sources in audio recordings suggest it may have been even longer.
The primary communication line went down, the backup line didn't fire, and so for 30 seconds we lost contact with air traffic. Now our plane's going to crash. No, they have communication devices. But it's a sign that we have a frail system in place, and it has to be fixed.
Now, following the incident, United Airlines CEO blamed the airport for mismanagement, adding that the Newark terminal cannot handle the number of planes to operate there in the weeks and months ahead. In fact, an air traffic controller working at the airport also slammed it as quote-unquote not safe, urging people to avoid it at all costs. Meanwhile, several controllers also took trauma leave under the Federal Employees Compensation Act. The FAA confirmed that at least 5 employees had taken 45 days of leave, contrary to the report suggesting that they quote-unquote walked off the job, which the union clarified were legitimate absences due to the traumatic event.
Some controllers at the Philadelphia TRACON, who work Newark arrivals and departures, have taken time off to recover from the stress of multiple recent outages. While we cannot quickly replace the controllers due to this highly specialized profession, we continue to train controllers who will eventually be assigned to this busy airspace.
Still, the ripple effects were both immediate and severe. In fact, on the day of the breakdown, 36 flights were diverted and hundreds more were delayed or canceled. In fact, for 2 hours, there were no flights that arrived or departed from Newark. The crisis only ballooned as the chaos extended into the following week, and by Monday, more than 300 flights were delayed and over 150 were canceled. The FAA blamed the disruption on its outdated technology. Meanwhile, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy admitted the system is frail and pledged to unveil a multi-billion-dollar plan to modernize the nation's air traffic control infrastructure. He also introduced $5,000 bonuses for new air traffic controller recruits and said at least 2,000 would be hired this year.
As many of you have reported, we're about 3,000 air traffic controllers short right now. Now, we do have enough controllers to control the airspace. There's a lot of overtime. So I'm happy to announce that we have struck a deal with NATCA. They've been great partners through this process. And we are going to give a upfront substantial bonus for those controllers who are eligible to retire to actually stay on.
Critics, however, are not convinced. In fact, Senator Chuck Schumer has called for a full investigation, blaming the FAA's disarray on mismanagement and cuts made during the Trump administration.
We're here because the FAA is really a mess. This mess needs a real forensic look, a deep look into it. So today, I'm demanding a full Inspector General investigation as to what went on. I have asked the Office of Inspector General to thoroughly investigate what's going on at Newark and in the East Coast so these problems don't get worse and spread all across the nation.
And now as delays stretch into an 8th day and thunderstorms loom, one thing is certainly clear. America's skies are under increasing pressure. And unless bold fixes arrive soon, the next time radar goes dark, flyers might not be so lucky. And now shifting the spotlight to the north of the United States, where Canada's energy-rich province of Alberta is stirring a debate on breaking away from the country. The province's premier, Danielle Smith, says she will hold a referendum on provincial separation next year if a citizen-led petition meets a new lower signature threshold. In a live stream address, Smith said she does not personally support separation, but insists Albertans have the right to be heard.
We know many Albertans have lost faith in Canada's ability to support their future. These aren't fringe voices. They are our neighbors, tired of seeing their livelihoods hurt by federal policies. Their frustration is real, and it needs to be heard.
Smith accused previous federal Liberal governments of introducing different legislation that hampered Alberta's ability to produce and export oil, which she said has cost the province billions of dollars. She also says she doesn't want the federal government meddling in provincial issues.
We want the freedom to develop and export our vast resources and to decide how to provide healthcare, education, and other services to our people, even if it's different from Ottawa's approach.
Now, the renewed push comes after Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal Party won a 4th consecutive term last week, and as U.S. President Donald Trump continues to threaten Canada with tariffs and talk of the country becoming the 51st state. It also follows Smith's government introducing a new bill to make referendums easier to trigger. Under the proposed legislation, a petition would need signatures from just 10% of the eligible voters, down from 20%, and organizers would have 120 days instead of 90 to collect the required 177,000 signatures.
If a Citizen LED petition successfully collects the necessary signatures to request a referendum, our government will honor the democratic process and ensure that question is included in the 2026 provincial referendum.
Meanwhile, a new report suggests nearly a quarter of people in Alberta see themselves as Albertans first and Canadians second, further illustrating that 1 in 10 believe their province would be economically stronger as part of the United States, while another 2 in 10 favor a future as an independent country. With separation cause gaining traction, Alberta joins Quebec as the only provinces to formally entertain leaving Canada, though Quebec's referendums in 1980 and 1995 both failed. This is all juxtaposed with Canada's Prime Minister Carney scheduled to meet President Donald Trump today in Washington, placing greater pressure on the new leader with a potential separation vote now part of the conversation in Alberta. Still, whether this grows into a full-blown referendum remains to be seen. And we end today with fashion's most dramatic night, the Met Gala 2025. From Bollywood royalty to baby bumps, power suits to pink explosions, the blue carpet had it all. The Met Gala turned the steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art into a fashion battlefield, with stars strutting out in custom creations tailored to the theme superfine, tailoring black style, We leave you with the biggest hits, the boldest statements, and the most bizarre creations from one of the most unforgettable nights in Manhattan.
The Met Gala 2025 at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York turned the blue carpet into a parade of couture chaos, cultural pride, and some gloriously questionable tailoring choices. From sharp power suits to outfits that look like someone lost a bet with a sewing machine, this year's theme, Superfine. Tailoring black style was interpreted with everything. Amidst the glitter, tulle and tactical nudity, it was India that had a moment or five to remember. Legendary Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan made his Met Gala debut in full glory, becoming the first Indian male actor to attend the Met Gala. He walked in a custom Sabyasachi outfit with golden accessories. Priyanka Chopra Jonas, a Met Gala regular, returned for her fifth strut, arm in arm with husband Nick Jonas. Not far behind was singer Diljit Dosanjh. He showed up in a regal Punjabi ensemble by Prabal Gurung. Indian fashion powerhouses Sabyasachi and Manish Malhotra served style goals at the ceremony. Reliance heiress Isha Ambani, who has attended the event multiple times, chose an outfit by designer Anamika Khanna. The carpet, which was also made in India, didn't just see celebrity debuts but also baby bumps. Indian actor Kiara Advani made her Met debut glowing quite literally. The mom-to-be wore a stunning black and gold gown with a heart-shaped plate for the baby. Not to be outdone, Rihanna casually revealed her baby number 3 on the carpet. She was the last to arrive, but made sure that all the heads turned when she walked. Now, some attendees looked like they pressed Control, Alt and Delete on their outfits. Halle Berry walked the blue carpet in a sheer Laquan Smith creation, while Sabrina Carpenter went for boardroom burlesque in a Louis Vuitton pinstriped bodysuit. Blackpink's Lisa added a sheer blazer and tights to what was essentially lingerie with logos. Pink was also one color opted by various attendees. Shakira showed up in a giant princess pink gown by Prabal Gurung, apparently under the impression that the theme was Barbie Goes to the Ball. Singer Chapel Roan took it further, wearing a hot pink stained glass suit coat hybrid, glitter fur trim and bedazzled bell-bottoms. The fashion night also saw attendees interpreting power suits in their own ways. Actors Zendaya and Anna Sawai accidentally twinned in white suits and wide-brimmed hats. Singer Janelle Monáe wore a suit over a suit printed on a suit. Singer Alicia Keys brought cultural richness in red pinstripes, a beaded headpiece, and a floor-length puffer shawl. And just when you thought the night couldn't get any more iconic, Madonna lit up a cigar in a cream satin suit on the steps of the Met. The Met Gala 2025 was many things: bold, bizarre, and sometimes baffling. But boring, it was definitely not. This year's carpet proved one thing: fashion's biggest night out still knows how to raise eyebrows and funds, one sequined look at a time.
That's our show for today. We certainly thank all of you for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again, everyone, for watching.